I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday to all across the Delaware Valley. Yes, we've reached our first plateau of the preseason. We got our first game in the book, and it was kind of what we expected. Very vanilla, right? Very vanilla. Offensive players do not play Friday night, these starters, due to what Nick Sirianni said, the threat of the fast track, of the rain, of the muddy track, the threat of the weather, which kind of doesn't really make much sense. But, listen, I'm sure Howie Roseman said, hey, look, I don't want the starters in peril. We're going to sit that. Meanwhile, defensively, Vic Fangio said, I need my guys. We need reps in the new defense. And so the defensive starters played overall a very vanilla game. However, some good bright spots, man. We got our first game. Gets me pumped up. We saw the end, which was, the Jake Elliott miss, then the Patrick Johnson forces the fumble, then Jake nails it to win it. A couple things that stood out. One, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. showed great athleticism, man. Side to side, has a nose for the ball. The chip off the old block. The Axeman Jr. Was exciting, right? Like I actually took some good stuff out of that. Shipley, of course, got a lot of the reps at back. Gainwell got a few. Shipley looked pretty decent. He'll be in the mix along with Gainwell behind Barkley. It showed you, again, not that you're going to read much into a game plan on the first preseason night, but they will try to run the ball. They will try to throw the ball to the backs. That's how they scored the first touchdown, right? You saw Pickett looked okay. Gives you the Shipley touchdown, 7 yards. So you saw a little bit of that from him. I like Johnny Wilson. Now, I only caught one ball, but Johnny Wilson blocked nice. Had a couple good blocks on the bubbles, those bubble screams of Shipley. And so I kind of like what he did there. Kenyon Mitchell, right off the bat, he dropped a pick, but he was in the right spot. He looked great at practice yesterday. So very excited for Kenyon Mitchell. He's somebody that I think is going to be good. I love their secondary. Like their secondary, you got good young depth, talent. It feels good at corner. You got to hope that the safety is okay, that you're so rich in corner that you can help out with safety. So that's that. And then you got to see, again, the defensively, it's all going to be about the front and whether or not you can generate some pressure. I mean, offensively, the only thing you really kind of look at with that line is Becton appears to be the lock at guard. So I can see that. He didn't play as much. I think that tells me he's a guy that they're looking at. I've heard throughout camp that they really love him at guard as opposed to tackle. So I got a feeling that that's kind of how it's going to be. You'll see Becton, big size at guard. I like it, man. I like that sort of thing. It was great just to see a football game, right? Just to see one of those games. And so we'll discuss, about that. And I know it's, again, you're not going to read so much into it, but there's some good things. And again, Trotter Jr. popped, right? Like right off the bat, watching Jr. go side to side, kind of move. I like that. So we'll get into birds. I know the big worry is upon us because it looked like the Fightins were getting out of it a little bit. It looked like the Fightins were going to turn it around in Arizona. Remember, they had won 4 of 5, 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, and then they win the first game in Arizona. And then Friday night's the walk-off. And then Saturday is just an ugly 11-1 loss. And Sunday is an equally ugly 12-5. It was just a bad weekend. What's a completely lost weekend in Arizona in the desert. So here's where we stand. They're still 7.5 up on Atlanta, 8 on the Mets. which is you could take solace in. Now, you look at the other division leaders, they're tied with the Dodgers. They're a game and a half in front of Milwaukee. So now we're looking at seedings, right, when it comes to the playoffs. More importantly, we're looking about, hey, what can you get this thing right going into the playoffs? I always say you got to wait until kickoff for real starts. So that's a couple weeks. And you got a couple testers the rest of the month. So, you got the good series right now, Washington and Florida at home, where you can kind of get right. And then you got at Atlanta for 3, at Kansas City, who's really good for 3, 3 at home against the Astros, and 4 at home, which will take you to September 1st against the Braves. So really, you get a little break, and then you got 4 tough series, including 7 games with Atlanta, 3 on the road and 4 at home. I mean, clearly their starting pitching is the worrisome piece of it, right? Like Ranger has to come back and he's got to get right. Because right now you look at Sanchez and he, gives you kind of licking oil a little bit. You need to count on that third spot. You need that third rotation spot right now is a concern. And then they got to play better ball, man. Again, over the weekend, they looked like they did throughout this post All-Star break when they have been 7-15 since the break. Not good. They got to get it right. So coming up today, we'll talk to Bo Wulf, our daily training camp report. Bo will join us straight up in about 10 minutes or so. Then we'll get to our man Jim Salsbury at 10:20 to kind of go through this thing and really what they need. I know there's a lot of people. I was down the shore. We had a baseball tournament in Wildwood, which was a blast over the weekend. And I always like to judge, where the mindset is. I saw a lot of Eagles, but I saw a lot of Sixers. A lot of Sixer love on the beach, which was interesting. A lot of worry, though. A lot of Phillies. Oh, Phillies. Oh, no. Ton of Phillies worry. And listen, I get it. We're now, we've reached almost the midway part of this month, and the slumping still continues. This has to be a big week when you got Washington and Florida. Good morning, boys.
Buenos dias, cuz. How we feeling? Bless you, cuz. And it starts off. Bang.
Pretty much how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, let's start.
Arizona.
How do you feel? I know you felt very upset.
They stink. First half frauds. That's what it feels like right now.
I love how we get like this after a series. I mean, listen, that sucked going down there and losing series to the Diamondbacks. I don't know what it is about Chase Field as well over the past couple of years. Seems like we do struggle, but I just feel that at this point of the season, it is August. They will turn around. This week, you got a series against Miami, series against Washington at home. I'm not concerned.
God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
They stink?
I'm irritated. Yeah, I'm irritated.
Come on, stop. They don't stink.
They stink.
So your panic is through the roof, which is one of the Monday 5 questions, which is your worry. Your state of worry.
Who's got the worst record in baseball since the All-Star break?
Yeah, I just said it, 7-15.
Chicago. Who's got the second worst record in baseball?
The Phillies.
They're 14-20 in their last 34. They're their lowest average in the league with runners in scoring position. And I'm doubly irritated because they're sending out season ticket renewals for next year already.
Okay, relax though. But
I can't relax right
their
now.
Their biggest issue is pitching.
I mean, is it? I mean, that's a horrible issue, but their bats stink.
No, their bats don't stink. Listen, their bats, you're going to, through a long season, you're going to have those peaks and valleys, which is why I give you the kickoff thing. But the only thing that really concerns me is their starting rotation.
Stott doesn't concern you? Marsh doesn't concern you?
No, not yet. Not now, because at some point,
JT?
At some point, those guys will hit, right? And at some point, it's going to be about the pitching in the playoffs.
I don't know if Marsh and Stott are. You're like they got baseball card numbers.
Listen, it's not about Stott. That Stott's going to start hitting the cover off the ball. I need the rest of that lineup to start hitting. Like, that includes JT. Right? Like, JT has had a bad season. Let's face it, been hurt, the whole thing.
Doesn't help,
He's struggled. But you got Turner, you got Harper, you got Schwarber, right? Like, those guys are going to have to kind of get hot. And then the rest of the lineup fills in around you. I mean, listen, you're not counting on Stott to carry you.
No, he used to get some good at-bats, though.
I don't know what's going on with him.
I know, but in the grand scheme of things, in the playoffs, when we're thinking about the playoffs, you got to. That's where your big boys come into play.
Yeah,
I mean, you're asking me. My worry is about the rotation.
Yeah,
like Ranger has to come back and has to come into some sort of form. You got to have that third starter in the playoffs. That's it. Right now, that's what's scaring me.
And off of yesterday, is that what Christopher Sanchez is too? I mean, he hasn't really been pitching well since the All-Star break.
Listen, I mean, we all loved the story of Christopher Sanchez.
Right.
Man, did we? Love the extension, lock them in. We were giddy, feeling ourselves all up.
But at some point, that the August dead arm period hits every pitcher. They all go through it. When you start throwing a lot of innings, you start getting exposed a little bit more. That's what happens. But
Flaherty's not having a dead arm. And if Brad brings his name up 3 times today, I'm going to smash the screen with Brad on it. He's going to be like, Flaherty, 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 Flaherty.
Let me ask you a question. What did the Phillies try to give up?
Anthony, let me ask you a question. Why would they not go after Jack Flaherty? Did you see him 8 scoreless innings with 27 strikeouts?
Dude.
I can't hear it today.
I know. And it's an extremely valid point because that adding to the rotation. See, they were all in on Crochet, and I go, I need a starter. I need a game 3 starter is what I need. I know Flaherty's right-handed, and you would have been 1, 2, 3 right-handed. But listen, I need somebody that's going to come in quality. So if you would have had Flaherty, Ranger could have been the super kind of reliever that you would have been able. He's been deployed like that before. So that to me is the biggest issue, more than the bats.
Is Tyler Banks, is that his name?
Phillips?
No, the reliever they grabbed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he's horrible.
Jeez, oh, man.
No, I mean, I could tell you miserable off the bat.
I refuse to wear Phillies gear today. We went Sixers.
How are you? You're all Sixered up.
Sixers and hoops, a little plaster.
Well, after the Embiid Olympics.
Fantastic. That was great. U.S. basketball. Do you know how nice was it to root for Steph? Like, how lucky have the Golden State fans had it that they see him going on these runs, making these magical shots and cheer for it? To be on that side and be like part of, he's on your team now?
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel on a much lesser level, but it's kind of how I feel about Maxey. Like, I watching Maxey come into his own. You forget about. I mean, Steph's a once a generation player.
Yeah.
Right. Just just an incredible player. But it kind of makes me feel about Maxey watching, like, when he gets hot, you feel great about that kid. That kid, the way he plays with joy. But no, to your point, I mean, Steph's money.
Making, like, Harlem Globetrotter 3-pointers, two dudes in his face. It's
Steph's ridiculous. Like, Steph is on another level. Like, I mean, again, a generational player.
Yeah, it was just amazing to be able to root for him.
But I love the fact that Embiid got had that whole experience.
That's the big part.
I love that he was booed by the French.
So
having
good.
Fun with it. He loves being the villain now.
And the whole team had his back. They were encouraging the boos. Like, the whole team was supporting Embiid. Yeah, that's a great story for Embiid.
The beauty
he should
of
be a change player when he comes back.
The beauty of what Embiid, it almost felt like Embiid felt like he belonged on the stage of greatness. Yeah. Right? On the stage of the super elite.
Yeah.
LeBron, KD, Steph, that generation of greats. It felt like Embiid was indoctrinated into the club.
This is the best thing that's happened in Joel Embiid's career because now he's going to take all these experiences and bring it back here to Philadelphia. You talked about Maxey, being that veteran leader for Maxey, and obviously you've got Paul George near. I'm really excited for Sixers basketball this year. I mean, we talked about the great offseason, but now Embiid having this experience, it's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to it. It was funny, in Wildwood, there's a lot of Sixer talk.
That is crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of – there was Phillies fear.
Yeah.
With a PH.
Yeah, I get it.
And, Go Birds and always. Sixer, let's go, play the song. I got to play the song on the boardwalk. Go, cuz, play the song. Made me smile. I was like, not bad.
That's awesome.
Play the song, which was good. Birds Friday night. I mean, it is what it is. First preseason game. Not much to take out of it, but
some good stuff out of that.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what the preseason's for, is to look at it and get excited and realize that, season's around the corner. But watching Trotter Jr.
Oh, God.
Great.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going side to side, shows you great athleticism, the baby axe.
Yeah, it looks like he belongs. It's good.
I put this in the in our group chat over the weekend. So this wild stat from Eagles Nation. So Jeremiah Trotter, senior, back in 2009, returned back to injury against the Bucs and Josh Johnson. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. gets his first sack against Josh Johnson. I love those little tidbits there. Yeah. Shows you, especially, that's kudos to Josh Johnson too for having a long career too.
You're hanging on that long and not having a great career.
Yeah.
So
going up against both Trotters.
Yeah,
no, it was cool
it was pretty good. Did you guys get any excitement out of it? Any tingles? I always get tingles.
Oh, I got a little Lou Nichols tingles. He's on our radar now.
That's Bo's guy.
7 catches, like 21 yards, or 7 rushes, 21 yards. I'm in.
Bo was giddy
Lou Nichols.
Lou Nichols.
Yeah, I had to look it up. It's L-E-W. I love it.
He's an L-E-W guy.
Yeah.
Backfield's intriguing. Got a couple guys who are fighting for some spots.
I think Shipley's entrenched as the third guy with Gainwell behind Saquon.
You're gonna have 4 backs this year, guys.
I'm so over Gainwell. He's just such a dud. He's just nothing.
Well, because he doesn't do anything great. He's serviceable, does his thing, but he doesn't do anything great.
Yeah,
not a great runner. Can catch the ball in the backfield, but not going to take it to the house type of thing.
And Shipley's a polished pass blocker too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, college, he does his thing.
There was a lot of shotgun. I thought they'd be under center a little bit more, but pretty much everything I saw was out of shotgun.
Yeah.
And by the way, cuz your boy Tanner McKee has that job. Kenny Pickett did not look great at all.
Dude, I got to tell you, I love McKee.
Yeah.
We were talking to Bo about it. I love McKee. I like his arm. I like the way he handles himself. I like the way he sees the field. I think McKee's actually a player.
I think his IQ stood out more to me than Kenny Pickett because Kenny was just trying to force some things. Nate Wiggins was out there feeling like prime time.
Yeah, I don't feel Pickett. I don't feel Pickett.
I don't either.
But
you
anti-small
hands guy.
And the double gloves,
the anti-gloves too.
I'm
probably.
anti-gloves and anti-small hands. Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
I always had that. In me. I don't know what it is. Anyway,
should be a fun
we got
week.
Lots to get to today on a Monday. We're just getting started on a week. It'll be a fun week. We have the joint practice with the Patriots, and then the Patriots preseason game. We'll get a look at the offense and the starters. We know beef with there, right? Listen, it's the first preseason game.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is. We're presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or stop at your local branch. Learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. All right, let's talk about True Fan Travel. We're just getting started with the Eagles, right? Well, True Fan Travel, which is Philly sports trips, they got some great adventures. Incredible. So they're going to Brazil for the opener. But then it don't stop. Tampa, New Orleans. So it'll be a celebration in Tampa. New Orleans, if you haven't gone to New Orleans, I highly suggest it. In fact, they have a charter going. So you're going to be on the plane with all your Eagles fans, right? And it's going to be your own airplane, EAGLESN, down to NOLA. It's one of the great American cities. New Orleans, you got to check it out. It would be a blast. They have games going on. They have an LA trip, Cincinnati. Of course, all your division games, the bus trips to Washington and New York and Dallas. So you got to check out truefantravel.com and check out all of the trips and adventures they got going on. Spring training, not too early to get started with spring training for next year. We always love the winter break and going down to see a little baseball in Clearwater. Yeah, they do it right, man. Celebrity, like former athletes, celebrities, they all go on the trip. Check out truefantravel.com. Learn more and build your next adventure at truefantravel.com. Used to be Philly Sports Trips. And, of course, we're brought to you by Primo Hoagies. It's a sports time. Getting into the fall, nothing better than the Primo Hoagies party tray. You're going to have friends over to watch games. Primo's the place to go, right? They got a sandwich that everybody loves. It's the ultimate football food. No utensils needed, right? They got the great sandwiches that are piled high. The Thuman meats and cheeses on that incredible seeded roll, baked in store every couple hours. It's always about that incredible roll and all the finest meats and cheeses, the pickies, the desserts, cookies, you name it. Primo Hoagies. Go to primohoagies.com. And by the way, become a rewards member and you can get $2 off Primo-sized hoagies every Wednesday. All right? primohoagies.com. And you'll say what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo. All right. Now let's go to our daily training camp report from all PHLY Eagles. 2 o'clock today. You got to make sure you're watching Bo Wulf and Zach Berman. They do such an incredible job. Good morning, Bo. How are you?
I'm good, cuz you look like you got some color this weekend.
I was in Wildwood for a baseball tournament.
Nice.
Yeah, so we
How'd we do?
Not good. Not good. I mean, not bad. They lost.
Like
they
the
played
Phillies.
up. So we're an 11U team, and we played in a 12U tournament. We lost 2-1, 9-8, and then we were in a consolation game, and we smashed. We won 12-2 in the 14-2 in the.
I mean, that's a plus 10 run differential in 3 games.
Yes.
That's not so bad.
But it was really like a great. The kids loved it. Like they were all together. Water parks, boardwalk. It was so
That's what
much
it's
fun.
all about. Those are the memories, man.
Yeah, they do such a great job because they have the beach packed, right? And they build the whole field. They built 5 fields on the Wildwood Beach.
Oh, that's
Fences. It's awesome. It was really cool. You're watching the waves in the background, so it was cool. Good for the
I love
kids.
that.
So let's go. More importantly, Friday night. Let's go with your takeaways from Friday night. We talked about Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Obviously, I think he was tops the list.
Yeah, you know what? I think we talked about before the game. One of the things that I find most interesting about the preseason games is like getting to evaluate those positions that we don't really get to evaluate quite as well in a practice setting. And for me, that's linebacker and running back. And I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised by both of those groups. I do agree that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. looked the part. Was not a surprise to me. You know, I've been gassing him up all summer.
Yep.
I think he very clearly knows what he's doing there at a degree that is ahead of schedule for a rookie. And I think he's like borderline trustworthy there, which is interesting for a group that needs that. Now, Zach Bond, I asked Vic Fangio yesterday about this because, you know, Vic is the guy who identified Bond in free agency. He didn't play linebacker at New Orleans. You know, what was it about what you saw that made you think that he had the instincts to do it? And he said, you know, it only happened a couple times, but it looked like he knew what he was doing. He said he's had a very good camp. First couple plays on Friday night against the Ravens were not so great, but, you know, then he sort of settled in. So I think that is one to watch. Devin White is I'm sure, going to be one of the 2 starting linebackers. He brings just a much different element of like physical ability than they have there. And Nakobe Dean, I actually thought, after having sort of a down week the past couple practices, had a pretty good game. You can still see with him, he knows what he's doing moving forward. He's not great in coverage right now, and I don't know if that's ever going to come. But it was encouraging to see him bounce back after having a down night, especially at the open practice at the lake.
Let's talk about the front. What did you think of the front?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting that Becton got a series at right guard. As I've said, I mean, this competition I think is over. It is going to be Mekhi Becton, assuming that he doesn't get injured week 1. But I actually thought that Tyler Steen looked pretty good, and he's fighting through an injury. So that was encouraging too. I think he's eventually going to have to be their top backup. You look at the guys beyond that, like, you know, Darian Kennard had to play the entire game at right tackle, which was interesting. I don't know if that's because they're trying to hide Aneem Dankwa, or if it's just they didn't trust Dankwa and they wanted to protect Tanner McKee. I like Dylan McMahon, the 6th round pick, who was the backup center on Friday night. I think he sort of has the team made. I thought Trevor Keegan also looked good, so that's encouraging that both of those rookies seem to be ahead of schedule. And, you know, Fred Johnson had a good game for those offensive linemen.
How about the defensive front?
Defensive front. Now, here's one I want to know what you think, cuz.
Yeah.
You know, Nolan Smith gets that sack.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean, he was
it's
unabated to the quarterback. I mean,
unabated. It's against a backup, an undrafted
Yeah.
rookie left tackle who doesn't see it coming. I thought the more important play that Nolan Smith made was, I think, the very next play when he makes the pursuit on the backside.
Yes.
The thing that Nolan Smith can do reliably right now is hustle. Right, that is the superpower that he has, is that he
Plays
has
the
a high
whistle.
he has a high motor. That's good. But I remain a little bit skeptical that he's going to bring a ton pass rush wise. Now, we had a good practice yesterday. There were no pads on, but it seemed like he had a sack against Jordan Mailata. But I am, that sack was in the third quarter, coming off the nickel position against a guy who wasn't expecting it coming. I'm still like, I need to see it before I believe it with Nolan Smith right now.
I know. And it's funny because they need him. They need him to take a step up. They do. And I kind of feel the same way. I'm like, I wonder, is he just too one-dimensional off the outside? Because it's just always about speed off the edge, and that's it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody on the sideline about this, and there was when he comes in, there's the obvious comparison to Hassan Reddick, right? They're similar height and weight.
Yeah.
But he is nowhere near as violent as Hassan Reddick is with his hands. Like, he doesn't have as much power as Hassan Reddick did. And so he has to win, even though he has this crazy high motor. Like, he has to win by going around the edge and just going around guys. And unless you have a plan B, a second move, a counter to that, it's hard to win. And right now, I don't know that he has that. I mean, you're right that they're going to need somebody else now.
Somebody's got to step up there. We talk all the time about how the interior.
Yes. Somebody needs to step up. And we expect that Jalen Carter is going to go from really good to great, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody else to make that jump. That could be Jordan Davis going as a pass rusher from okay to good. It could be the same thing for Milton Williams. It could be Josh Sweat playing at the level he played the first half of last season for a whole season. It could be Bryce Huff doing the same thing, a larger sample size, doing what he did with the Jets. It could be Brandon Graham turning back the clock. It could be Nolan Smith going from borderline unplayable to a realistic, third guy in the rotation. It could be Jalix Hunt going from a guy who I was expecting to sort of be a redshirt player this year. Maybe he can be that fourth guy, because I thought, I do think that
actually showed me a little
right?
something. I mean, I get it. It's, against competition, but his instincts looked real to me.
I agree with that. And physically, he looks the part to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt that he's a raw pass rusher. He's not a refined,
right.
with his hand skills and stuff like that. You're not expecting that, but he looks the part to me. I agree with that.
I liked Johnny Wilson. I forget, only caught the one pass, but he had two good blocks on the bubble screens. And I like that. I'm like, because that's a weapon. If you can get him blocking on the outside like that, that's a big deal.
What it's interesting. It's the very first thing that Nick Sirianni mentioned about 2 weeks ago when he was asked about that wide receiver competition, and he was talking about the mixing and matching that they have the ability to do there potentially. And the very first thing he mentioned was Johnny Wilson's blocking, and that was before we even saw these guys play in a real game. And it was nice to see that followed through to the game. I do think that, he's obviously and very clearly the only guy outside of the top two who can do that. I think it's a path to getting on the field for him. He had a really good day at practice yesterday, pretty good in one-on-ones. And then at the very end of practice, Nick Sirianni does this every now and then where he's calling out guys. It's a one-on-one in front of the whole team. The offense is cheering on the offense. The defense is cheering on the defense. And the first play, it was a little bit sad. He has Aniyah Smith come out and he says, "Bring me a safety." So from the beginning, you're pitting this fifth-round wide receiver against a safety. You're not even trusting him to go up against the corner. And out comes Andre Sam, the undrafted rookie from LSU. And Aniyah Smith is in the slot, which means, because in one-on-ones from the slot, you got the whole field to work with. There is no easier assignment than this. And he does a little shake on Andre's. Sam goes to the outside, a little bit of separation. Tanner McKee throws the ball right to his hands, and Sam makes the play and knocks it away. Defense goes crazy. Next play, he goes one more. We got Johnny Wilson on the outside against Quinion Mitchell, And Quincy Mitchell's been very good. I think one of the stars this summer had a pretty good day yesterday. And Johnny Wilson gets a little bit of a step on him, just keeps it going down the sideline, runs a fly, and Will Greer puts it right there for him. Wilson makes the play. So I generally think that like the idea that Johnny Wilson has had a great summer and is this breakout player is a little bit overstated. I think it's more a product of they don't really have anybody else, and so there's reason to believe in him. He's giving them something different than what they have, but he has gotten better over the course of the summer. He is making a little bit more of an impact. So I still believe that the Eagles are going to make a move there at some point, but I think there is reason to be optimistic about Johnny Wilson. And as you said, he brings more to the table than just his wide catch radius. He can do a little something for them as a blocker.
Hey, Bo, thanks for putting Lou Nichols on our radar. That kid's a stud.
My baby Lou.
His acceleration. I'm all about Lou Nichols now.
I'll tell you what, though, I thought all the running backs looked pretty good. Tyrion Davis-Price showed a little bit of a flash to me. Even Milton was not bad. But yeah, Lou is my guy, the official Bo Wulf camp crush of the summer. The litany of these guys is undefeated, so you can expect big things for Lou.
Yeah, man. And what about John Ross came alive? We said he might have been dead on Friday, and
you thought he came alive?
Catches. Huh?
What did you see from John Ross that you liked?
He led the league, led the team in reception yards, didn't he? He made a couple grabs.
Well, I mean, they didn't have a catch for more than 10 yards. I mean, I thought the red flag for John Ross was he got that step on that early in I think it was the first possession, and Pickett throws the ball, and it's an underthrown ball. It's not a good pass. But John Ross, I mean, he's a veteran. He's got to come back to that ball and like try to force PI. Like this is your whole bread and butter is these routes. He's got to play that better. And so I would say I'm still, I'm not holding on to my John Ross shares.
What are you feeling on Nakobe Dean? He had one tackle.
Yeah, I mean that was a nice violent play that he had to force that PBU as well. But I just it's the year 3.
Yeah,
it's not nothing's popping to me, and so I'm more on the Trot Jr. bus than the Dean bus right now.
All right, what about my man McKee? Looked good.
Yeah, I mean the numbers are not great, but there were like 4 drops in there, and he's working with slop.
You just look at if you just watched it, he looked. I like him better than Pickett. I just do.
So do I. We're on the same page there. I Pickett like he has to work so hard to get the ball out. It's so many moving parts, and he it's such an uncatchable ball, don't you think? Like he fires these balls in on these interior passes. It's tough to watch, and then the ball on the outside it just floats. Whereas McKee, like it's a much more nice and easy throwing motion. I think he's a little bit more accurate. I think he has a better understanding of the offense. There's no doubt he's less athletic than Pickett is, but like I don't think Pickett would be a disaster. If he got to play with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith in this offensive line, I think you could score some points. But I do think that long term, I'm more intrigued by McKee.
I am too. I think he's a legitimate prospect. I look at him, I go, you know what? I still like his poise. I like the way he sees the field, all those little things. And I'm with you. Like I think he just throws a nice ball, man. It's just a catchable ball.
I totally agree. And he sees it. I mean, some of those passes he threw were like those guys had no separation, and he fitted into a keyhole, right? And then there were a couple ones where he made the perfect read, and I think it was maybe Jacob Harris who just dropped the ball. Like, it was tough to watch. I would like to see him get some. And to be fair, over the course of the last week plus in camp, every now and then he's getting reps with the twos at Pickett's expense. So they are flirting with it a little bit.
All right, let's talk about this week ahead now. So this is a big week for them because you get the joint practice with the Patriots and then the game. How do you think the whole thing's going to play out, and who might we see, in the second game?
Yeah, Cam Jurgens said yesterday that like they approach this practice like a game. It is a game to them, and you hear that, and it's a little bit overstated. But I think that it's more like it's likely that this is going to be the best work that the starters, especially on offense, get all summer. Nick Sirianni explained and said that the reason the starters on offense didn't play on Friday was because of the weather, which we were sort of joking about. But I don't know if they want to get those guys one series of just going through the operation against the Patriots on Thursday night. I think that's possible, probably more likely than them doing it in the third preseason game. But tomorrow it's the one day of joint practice, and usually you would get two of these. It would be two practices. So it's interesting that it's only one day. I wonder if they'll go a little bit long, but it'll be the best work that they have. And the Patriots defense is pretty good. So I think that'll be a good test for the Eagles offense. Patriots offense, not so good. So you would hope that the Eagles defense can dominate that side of the matchup. I'm curious, I do think that it's like, how does Mekhi Becton hold up? Because he hasn't played hasn't played inside against starting caliber players yet. Let's see how he does. There's really not much else to be worried about on offense. And then on defense, I guess, it's the linebackers, it's the corners. And I wonder if we're going to see, it was interesting to me in the Ravens game that when they were in base, it was Quinion Mitchell on the outside to start with over Kelee Ringo. I think there's a chance that Quinion Mitchell is going to make a push to start week 1 on the outside. I think that's possible.
I know he had a big day yesterday at camp too. He's good. You just look at him. He looks smooth. Like he looks like a pro.
I agree. And, Isaiah Rodgers has had a very good camp. I think he's very trustworthy on the outside. But this guy, Quinion Mitchell, is your first-round pick. Are you going to – and I have been saying all along, I don't think that he needs to start week 1. Like that corner position is often a developmental position. Quinion Mitchell's – the bar for him is that he can replace Darius Slay next year, be the starter there on the outside. But at the same time – are you really going to stunt his growth? Like those reps are bars of gold, coaches say, right? And the team in December is going to be made better off if he gets those reps earlier in the season. Are you going to not give him those reps at the expense of Isaiah Rodgers?
I'm with you, man. I'm with you, dude. I love that kid. I think that kid. I'm curious. So give me an update on Cooper. When do we get to see DeJean?
Good question. We saw him working to the side yesterday, which I believe is the first time we've seen that this summer, where he was not just sort of standing around and watching practice. He was actually doing the physical stuff. I've heard some rumors that they expect him back pretty soon. My guess, and this is total speculation, is that after the Patriots game, when they return to practice, that's when they will start to ramp him back up.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Bo, great stuff. 2:00 today. What's on the agenda with you and Zach?
Yeah, I mean, Zach and I haven't talked since the game itself, so we got to review the game and yesterday's practice, sort of give a refresh position by position of where these guys stand, some of the roster battles to keep an eye on over the next 2 weeks.
Dude, I mean, we're after Thursday, one left, and then it's just it's a downward sprint to the opener in Brazil.
Here we go, baby. Lou Nichols.
Love it. Thanks, buddy. Yep. Here he is. The Bo Wulf.
Loves his Lou Nichols.
2:00, him and Zachariah. Dude, I'm excited, man. It's right. It's so close now. You got a Phillies worry on the brain.
Yeah, I'm in a Phillies malaise today.
Wow. Phillies really got you that down, VG.
They stink. They stink right now. I mean, it's just a fact they stink right now.
But again, I can't argue that. But we know what kind of ball club it is. Like that was not a mirage. That's not. I get the parallels because 10-1, and you fall off the ledge, and we're completely scarred from that. But I don't believe that this Phillies team is last year's Eagles team.
All I go back to is we have Jim Salisbury coming on today. About a week and a half ago, he's like, I'm not really concerned. If this goes on for another week, I'm worried.
See what Jimmy says.
We're more than a week with this going on.
A week or two. I mean, but again.
I'm saying what he said. He was a voice, so he was going to get me off the ledge. And
you won a Dodger series.
Yeah, you came back and you won 4 or 5 during that road trip. The last 2 games were ugly. I mean, no question, right? Like, they were just ugly. And then the starting pitching didn't hold up, and then one of the relievers you just blows up.
Yeah, but Hoffman's leaking oil. He was bad Friday and Saturday.
Jose, I'm telling you, it's at Chase Field, VG. That stinking Chase Field.
Yeah, I know. I feel you. But again, Hoffman, you expect he's going to be perfect all year long.
I didn't expect his ERA to go from like 1 to 4.
I mean, you're
come
gonna
on.
have a couple. You're gonna have
4?
some outings. You're gonna have some outings like that.
Oh my god, these ERAs right now.
I mean, look, it's obvious to say that they need to play better ball right, over the next month.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting because if you look at how you close out September, right? You got 3 Washington, 3 Florida. So, you got to win 5.
I mean,
And Florida's playing better.
But yeah.
Right? But then you got at Atlanta, at Kansas City, home Stros, home for Atlanta. The next, the 13 games that follow are nasty.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, to me, I got that circled as to how I'm going to feel going in, because that'll take you to September 1st, which is what I say kickoff.
Listen to these ERAs since July 1st. Sanchez 6.44, Ranger 6.61, Nola 4.08, Hoffman 4.61, Strom 4.15, Kerkering 5.14, Alvarado 5.4.
Oh,
No one under 4. Brutal.
Yeah, again, that's what happens in the slump.
The whole entire team?
Yeah, I mean that's what happens. When you go from where they were playing that kind of ball. I mean, if you think about it, they built such an insurmountable lead that they've played horribly over the last month. And where are they at? They're still up 7.5 games.
Yeah, I mean they're lucky the Braves have lost 2 or 3 of their best players.
Good, the Braves.
Yeah, I mean unquestionable, but still they played at that kind of clip. Baseball, it's the laws of baseball, right? It's the peaks and valleys of that long season.
How much do you put into? I mean,
it's like brainwaves. Like you look at the chart, it goes up, down, up. That's kind of where baseball is.
It's definitely concerning. But the Diamondbacks are also one of the hottest teams since July. They've really been turning it on since the start of summer.
You're a mook. Look at you.
14 and 20. I'm the mook. 14 and 20 the last 34. It's me.
Well, I mean, I'm not expecting to go. I'm not expecting to come in pounding your chest like Kong, but I mean, you're just Murray stink. They blow. I mean, they don't stink. They're good. I still believe that this is a good team.
Look at him, he's ready for basketball season.
It's a safe place. I'm venting. I got to get this out. It's no good to hold it in.
My God, this portion of the program is brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. We'll have the brain shortly coming in. Let's hear it. Brain.
Brain, Red, the brain finder.
Don't utter his name, Brain. I'm telling you right now, it begins with an F, it ends in a Y, and I don't want you to mention his name. Do not do it today.
You can only talk about Fartsy. All right? He's on the chat.
Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Brain.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're
reeling here.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not pretty, and there's a lot of thought about the 10-1 Eagles. I still contend that this Phillies team is not last year's 10-1 Eagles that are going to slide into the ocean.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Anthony. But I will say this. It's funny. I was looking forward to being on today because I was thinking about it. I was thinking about the Phillies. I really was. And I was thinking about being on the air today. And I was thinking to myself, I was just comparing them to the Dodgers, right, who's theoretically their chief competition, right? And what the issue with this Phillies team to me is we had a Phillies team that initially – we were been consistent all year, but you got Ranger Suarez, his first 10 starts, was pitching like Steve Carlton. Christopher Sanchez was pitching amazing. Nola was pitching amazing. But this is why baseball's 162 games, and that's why baseball, they always say it's a marathon, not a sprint, truest words in the world. I felt, and I'm going to you're going to go smack me in the face, and I'll take it, that they really could have used that Flaherty move. I felt that was a bigger issue, and I think you're seeing, I think their offense is fine. I still think in the playoffs with guys like Harper and Trey Turner and Schwarber, JT, Castellanos, I still think this team will hit enough home runs and score enough runs. But the pitching to me, when I compare, again, I look at the Dodgers, they're going out there with Flaherty. And,
dude, I said the same thing to VG. The one thing I said that concerns me is the rotation. And I thought it was a mistake that focus on Crochet. I know he didn't move. I know they had interest in Crochet, but I thought they needed another starter. I thought they needed someone to come in. And, I mean, obviously, Flaherty, we talked about him going cheap to the Dodgers. But, like, they needed another starter. It's funny. I would have did whatever I could. Now, apparently the Tigers weren't going to move to Skubal, but, I mean, he would have been the guy you go all in on.
Like, I would have gladly said Andrew Painter, what else? Like, Painter, like what you tell me, because Anthony, you said it, and I don't really necessarily think it was hyperbole. You're like, this guy could be like Steve Carlton out there.
He is.
You know, he could be the next best, like
he's
that kind of guy.
Season now.
Yes. Well, by the way, again, I have met, I think 70-1 to lead the league in wins and like 20-1 to win Cy Young. So I'm rooting very hard for this guy to every time he starts.
I don't know how he doesn't win Cy Young. I mean, he's the head and shoulders best pitcher.
He should. I agree. But it's interesting. I agree. Every single thing you said, Anthony, is what I was thinking. And my bigger fear is, Nola is a good pitcher, but again, sometimes we just see that like guy that's just not elite. And then, Sanchez and Suarez, who for, let's call it 3 months, were pitching at a very high status. That's why, again, baseball, it really is a marathon, and you best be sure that you have that kind of depth because it can change on a dime.
Well, that's why they're going
never have
so
enough pitching.
kid gloves with Suarez. Like I agree with it. Like you got to nurture him back, and then you got to get him rolling by mid-September. He's got to be rolling, right? Like that's how you got to play Suarez, because Suarez is the key to them going to the World Series.
100%. And Anthony, look, I've been pretty consistent that I still think this Phillies team was the best team. But now the more I'm like seeing the Dodgers, and now they're going to get Betts back in like this week, I believe, and I see Betts, Freeman, some guy named Otani, Teoscar Hernandez, and I'm just like, okay. We know that offense, no one. This is not an insult. No one has a foursome like that. And then you have at the top of the rotation Flaherty and Glass now, and I'm just like, all right, Dodgers are the favorite. They should be.
Well, they do have some holes deeper in the lineup. I mean, obviously, having Betts back is huge. But, I hear you.
Even Lux has actually been hot. Even Gavin Lux, who was probably one of their free outs, has been on fire recently.
Yeah.
And he's the guy I haven't been a fan of, but he's actually been really hitting the ball well. Will Smith has been cold, but still, like, it's a good team, man. A very good team. And look, you say to yourself, which team has the least holes?
No, without a doubt. No, without a doubt. They certainly had the least hole. I completely agree with you.
I think they get Muncy back soon, too. He's got a bunch of pop.
Yeah, I mean, VJ nailed it, man. Like, that's another one. Again, this team has had the most injuries, bar none, in Major League Baseball this year. Bar none. And they're still on pace to win, 95 games or whatever it is, despite that. So it's going to be I will tell you this, though. It's interesting, Anthony. This Arizona team that Phillies just played, I mean, that went to the World Series, it's a heck of a team, too. I mean, here's another team that's had a ton of injuries, and they lead the major leagues in runs scored per game. And now they got back Eduardo Rodriguez. They get back Merrill Kelly to go with Zach Gallen and Brandon Pfaadt. I mean, this is a National League, to me, is so much stronger than the American League. The competition to reach the World Series, it's night and day.
What's interesting, too, is that Arizona's playing this well, and Carroll's not giving you the power numbers that he gave you last year.
It would be, Anthony, and this is not hyperbole, this would be like the Sixers winning 52 games and Joel Embiid averaging 11 points and 5 rebounds.
I know.
I mean, you just – and speaking of which, what a great Olympics.
Marte's been ridiculous, so he's kind of made up.
Second in MVP, Anthony. Second choice now in MVP. I always thought there's always been a guy I've liked Marte, but this is a team – look, there's San Diego and, VG – yeah, Kettle One. VG brought up, San Diego like 2 weeks ago, and he was a day ahead versus being a day late. Padres have won 16 of 18. I mean, that's another team that's been really hot. So the National League, it's going to be extremely challenging. And even Milwaukee, is tough. I mean, it's going to be again. I think the
Milwaukee's
competition
interesting
at the National.
because they have a left-handed lineup and a right-handed lineup that
Yes.
is, they can come at you from both sides a little bit. Like I like that kid Terang, who's their second baseman.
Very fair.
And he can lead off against right-handed pitching. He's got some, and then they got some decent young players. That kid Churio can play a little bit.
Well, Churio was the number 2 prospect in Major League Baseball. I think he's only 20 years old.
Yep.
I think he's hitting like 278 with like 15 home runs as a rookie. I mean, as a 20-year-old rookie, that's rare. I mean, that's really, really rare. Like I didn't think as a 20-year-old he can come in and put up that kind of production, but credit to him and their organization for developing him and having the foresight to believe that a guy that young can produce like that. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, Anthony. But I'll be honest. I will actually say the more, again, I always say, would you rather be right or would you rather be consistent? I am worried about the Phillies. Not worried in the sense that they're not a really good team. Of course they are. But worried in the sense that they're in a bunch of other really good teams.
Dude, I feel you.
And the starting pitching.
So let's look at it. Let's look at the preseason football. So now we're a week ahead. This is when you kind of dive into it?
Well, I haven't done anything. I mean, I did. I had 12 plays in the preseason games. I was fortunate enough to go 8-4, but I had 12 plays. The one I got wrong. It's funny. I had Indianapolis. I was hoping they'd pull that one off, but freaking Zach Wilson was too good. But no, I have not bet anything yet for week 2 in the preseason. I haven't. Again, it's all about you're looking to see. We talk about it, it's going to repeat. You're looking to see the quarterback play and like what's what and like. For example, there was one yesterday or 2 days ago where Sam Howell played. Right now, I'm not overrating Sam Howell. I'm not telling you that Sam Howell is
but he's competent.
Is Patrick
That's
Mahomes.
for sure.
He's very competent, and the Rams put out no one, and the line was pick'em. And I'm saying to myself, okay, like this is something where I have a guy that has proven he could start for 15 games in the NFL. I think he was leading the league in passing yards, believe it or not, until we got the way end of the year. He showed he at least can play. You're going against guys that just they can't play at all, and like you just have to just be patient with stuff like that. Be on Twitter again. I would follow the beat writers for all 32 of these teams, and just try to get the information. Now, I'm curious, Anthony, have you heard anything in terms of Philadelphia front what they're going to do here for game 2?
You know what? You're going to see. You will see the starters. I don't know for how long. I mean, it's not their MO to play their starters deep into it. It's not like Andy. Andy's going to play his starters a little bit longer. Like he believes in that. You'll see them, which is different than last year, but I don't know how long they're going to play.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Well, look, they crazy ending, by the way, because the spread was, I think, closed Philly by 2.5, I want to say. I think in the game against the Ravens, Elliott misses the field goal, and then you think you're going overtime, and then boom, they get the sack and they kick a field goal in the last play of the game and cover the game for the hometown backers.
All right, what do you got for us today, buddy?
Yeah, 2 things, Anthony, I got for you. Andrew Abbott, starting pitcher, Cincinnati Reds. He averages 4.5 strikeouts. Okay, he's going against a team in St. Louis that struck out the 10th least out of 30 major league teams. They made the over-under 5.5. And I always say, show your work. Why would it be 5.5? He's 15-8 to that under this year. Why would it be not 4.5? Why are they making it 5.5? Right now it's 5.5 on the Park site. I think it's one too high. To me, this is a stone cold easy number to make. Make it 4.5. He averages 4.5. That's what he's averaged in his career. There's no reason to bump him up one in a slightly more difficult matchup. Don't get it, but it's not my job to get it. Just my job to bet it. Next, look, this is
he's rhyming, man. Look at him. He's feeling it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, listen, this
not
one,
my job
3.5 total.
My job to bet it.
Making me laugh, man.
Call 1-800-BRAIN.
Exactly. Well, look, we have Chris Sale going against Blake Snell. We have 2 of the hottest pitchers in the National League, 2 of the hottest pitchers in Major League Baseball, against 2 offenses that really don't score a lot of runs. I'll take under 3.5 runs in the 5-inning line. I will dare one of these teams, both teams either score 2+, or one of these teams to score at least 3, and their team to score at least 1. I think there'll be 3 runs or less. To me, 2 impotent offenses, 2 elite starting pitchers. Again, I thought the number would come in at 3. It's not like I thought it was a bad number, but I just think, Anthony, you're talking matchup wise. To me, this smells 0-0, 1-0, 1-1. I just don't have any faith in either offense to have any success against conservatively 2 of the best 5 pitchers right now in baseball, the way they're pitching.
I love it. I love it. The Brain, you got to check him out. The Brain, Brad Feinberg at bradsbestbets.com. The Brain. Good stuff, buddy.
You're a good man. I'll see you tomorrow morning, guys.
Thanks, pal. There he is, the Brain checking in.
Brain.
Brain. Couldn't even get a smile out of VG, man. Talk about
Not today.
Philly. He's a
VG
Phillies
a hug.
moat.
I am.
He's a Mick VG right now.
Good weekend too. The weather was so nice. They had a crap
get it
on
all,
it. They had a
BG.
crap on it.
You're from Philly. You can't get it all, man.
All right. Can't get it all. Let's talk about the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Oh, yeah, man. So the game Thursday night, the Eagles are -2.5 at New England, total 33.5. So you have a money line -142. So you can check out. That's your latest line for Bet Parks and the Birds, Patriots, preseason. And of course, you got everything, right? You got fightings begin tomorrow night, all your baseball stuff that Brad hooked you up with. So you can play that right. He gets those lines right from the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. It's the perfect hometown 4-for-4 sportsbook and casino, right? They got live baccarat, live blue roulette, live blackjack, an assortment of live blackjack games with live dealers. You can see right on your phone. It's awesome. And in fact, new customers, if you're down in your first 24 hours of play, you get up to $1,000 back. Check out betparks.com for all of the details. They got everything you want. Like, so you're watching the game, you want to mess around, play some blackjack or slots. They have all kinds of big-time slots games. They got it all right there on your phone. Check it out. You'll love it. Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You got to be in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan. Bet Parks. You love to bet. You bet to win. Bet Parks. All right, let's talk a little bit about Rite Aid. How about it, JP? You got it?
Yeah, I got you, cuz. Guys, listen, I mean, we all love cuz, but we hate seeing him like this, right? Every morning he's coming in. He wants to scratch his eyeballs out. You hear his nose, right? Like he's very congested. This is not fun. We wouldn't recommend this. But what we would recommend, ladies and gentlemen, is checking out our friends over at Rite Aid because they are our spot for any allergy relief that we may need this upcoming summer or for when the season changes, because that, my friends, is when the allergies attack you the most. All right. So anything from those eyes getting really itchy, you getting this swollen feeling in your throat, right? Sneezing, all that stuff, brain fog, that's not fun. Rite Aid will help you with all that. All right. And what you can do during this allergy season, you can sign up for Rite Aid's rewards emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive email pollen alerts for your area, which is big, guys, so you can get ahead of the schedule when it comes to that pollen. If pollen count is high, try to stay indoors. Keep windows closed and run air conditioners as needed. Remove shoes and coats near your door to minimize tracking pollen inside your home. Guys, I did a deep scrub this weekend at the house. Thank God. Everything feels nice and fresh when I walk in. No more any of that pollen, guys. I should be doing the same thing as well. All right, guys, and here's what you got to do. All right, visit your local Rite Aid here today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and much more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. So, guys, don't deal with these allergies. If you guys are feeling it, head on over to your local Rite Aid. And a big thank you to our friends over at Rite Aid, cuz.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it. It is the 10 o'clock hour, and we're brought to you by Rite Aid. That's right. Make sure you check out Rite Aid, riteaid.com, for all the stuff JP just told you and all of your favorite goods at your local Rite Aid. All right, time now for the Monday 5. Woo! It's the best and worst of the weekend. So let's get it started, boys. I'll start with you, VG.
Yeah.
The big.
He only has worse, cuz.
Oh, my God, right? I mean, unbelievable. Give me your best and worst of the Eagles preseason game 1.
Best was Scotty Graham. I like Scotty Graham. I like hearing his voice doing the play-by-play. You don't see enough of him. So, yeah, that was my favorite. That's the best. The worst.
Scott Graham for you. Yeah, I agree. I like him too.
Good.
Yeah.
The worst.
They do a nice job on the obviously for
it's a good
preseason.
Good broadcast for locally done.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Scotty Graham does the rest of the year. Like, does he only do preseason games?
dude.
Well,
Because
he's
he's
does a
really
lot
good.
of different things. He does KYW. He does a lot of different.
He should be doing
he's got a lot
some
of
ball
different-
games, I would think, somewhere.
College, I'm sure he does a lot of college football.
Yeah. The worst. The safeties and linebackers are a concern. Up the middle, they don't look strong aside from Trot. So that was the worst for me.
Well, I mean, Zach Vaughn did not play well, right? So we know that. I'm hoping Devin White can solidify it.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I mean, I love Trot, so I'm kind of banking on him.
Yeah.
But Zach Vaughn did not look good.
No. I just think the middle of the field's a real liability right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they pick up another linebacker, a Vic guy who seems like a
You
body.
wonder, or will they be poaching receivers and linebackers? Is kind of where they're at.
And what is going on at safety? It's all over the place. Avonte Maddox is a safety. James Bradbury's a safety.
I think what you see now, you got Gardner Johnson, right?
Yeah.
So that's one spot. And I think you're looking at a work in progress to what happens with the secondary, with the corners, and then the transition there.
Spillover.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Caden Stearns, a new signing, makes the team? Obviously comes in injured.
Yeah, he's a Vic guy, but he just seems like a body.
It's just weird that they brought in a guy who's not fully healthy.
Yeah, well, that's an upside play.
Yeah.
That's a Fangio upside. Hey, I like this kid. Let's see what happens. Keep him around and see where he gets at.
And to your point, Scott Graham, since 2023, has been part of the KYW News radio station.
Yeah.
It's been main anchor.
Yeah, he should be doing more sports. I think he does it well.
So do I. I agree. All right, JP, your best and worst of preseason game one.
The best was the ending. Harbaugh always trying to get the W in preseason, and of course it backfired. So I loved it. We got the dub, got the last field goal there. The worst was Kenny Pickett. I had high hopes for Kenny Pickett going into the season being the backup, and it seems like your boy McKee has solidified that role. So Kenny Pickett.
I don't know. I still think they like Pickett as the backup. I think they trust Pickett. I think they like his athleticism. I like McKee as a prospect, but I think the Pickett would be the number two.
It's a little disappointing, Pickett.
I'm not in love with Pickett.
No.
I'm just not. I mean, to me, he's just another guy.
Yeah.
Like we all know the deal, right? Like Jalen, stay healthy, right? Like that's it, right? Like that's where we're at.
He just looks really undersized and weak.
He does. There's a feebleness about
There's
it.
a feebleness to him.
No, I feel you on that. All right, let's go. Phillies worry 1-10, and the biggest part of your concern, JP. Start with you. 1-10. Where you at?
I'm going 6. I just think that, listen, like I talked about, Chase Field, I don't know what it is. And since Bryce Harper's arrived in Philadelphia, the Phillies are 7-12 in Chase Field. So they haven't played their best baseball there. But you talked about it, top of it. It's the pitching. The starting pitching, the bullpen is what really concerns me. But I think a big week here, you're back at home, back-to-back series with the Miami Marlins and the Washington Nationals. Should get them back on the road. So I give them a 6 here.
A 6. So you're at a 6.
6.
10 is break glass. All right. I'm at a 4.
Okay.
8.7.
That's on the Richter scale. Not good on the Richter scale.
The biggest worry is they don't have their edge anymore. They just seem like, there's a whole vibe,
Definitely gotta get
energy,
Edge
thing
in
going
August. Like, it's not about edge. You worry about edge? Don't worry about
on.
edge.
Yeah, I'm worried about edge. Padres got edge.
Edge comes and goes.
Diamondbacks got a little edge.
Dude, Diamondbacks definitely got edge.
Phils are like, a little flaccid, I might say right now. They feel flaccid. No? Man, like,
listen, I'm not going to. It's a good adjective. You never want that adjective.
No.
All right?
Not
That's
good.
for sure.
It's not good.
But, I could give you that. But edge, it's interesting that you point out edge in the first half of August. Like, edge doesn't. Starting pitching is something concrete that I think you worry about.
I mean, it's been like 2 months now. It's not just like a string of a month, 4 weeks.
Well, it's been, since they swept the Dodgers
Since
2 months
London,
ago.
they're under 500 since
But
London.
after London, they still swept the Dodgers.
Yeah, I get it. A broken clock's right twice a day.
That wasn't a blow.
Come on, man. I'm just saying, since London,
listen,
they're
if
under
you say since the
500.
All-Star break, I go, yeah. I go
London's June, though.
without a doubt. I think
They're under 500 since June.
Yeah, but after the All-Star break, from the All-Star break on, yeah, I agree. If you want to count that ugly series against the A's where they just kind of, it was right before the break and they're feeling themselves, I kind of throw that out. I think really since the break is really what I'm concerned about. And it has to do with the pitching. All right.
Yeah.
Question number 3. This is interesting because I was polling people during the baseball tournament in Wildwood. And the question was, who's the next team to win it?
Okay.
All right. Now, we know it'll be Phillies in October, Eagles in February, and the Sixers in June. Flyers on the rise, not there yet. So of those 3 choices, A, will it happen this cycle? B, who is it?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
It's tough because I was teetering back and forth between the Phils and the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Phillies. I'm still not sure about the Eagles, especially after last year. And we have a lot more question marks, but I feel like the Phillies being tested the past 2 years, going deep, I feel like this year they have what it takes. I think the Phillies win before the Birds and the Sixers.
All right. You got the Phillies.
Fights.
October. All right. VG does not have the Phillies.
And the hat says it all. 10,
Play
9,
the song.
8, 76ers. Yeah, man. Paul George, I like him. They got the best top 3 in basketball. They filled out the roster with a really good group of veterans with some winners on the bench now. Embiid's got this new mentorship where he knows how to win. He's been around champions. I think that's contagious and infectious. I feel good about the Sixers this year.
The Olympic factor of it all for Embiid definitely makes me feel even better for the season because that was super valuable for him.
Listen, and we'll get to that question coming up next, which is the Olympics. But I feel you on that. I want to go to Skeeves because Skeeves was always like a Sixer negative, right? And he was a Phillies negative this morning.
A little negadelphia for
right?
the Sixers.
Like he's got the old school, they're a bump. They're all bumps.
They're not going to win anything.
What do you got?
Who do I think is going to win?
Yeah.
Birds.
Birds!
Got some Birds love.
All right.
I don't know. Everything I'm hearing about Jalen Hurts coming out of training camp, I feel like he's going to be on this redemption tour.
Right.
I mean, they got the weapons. I want to put all my eggs into the Phillies basket. I don't know about what's going on right now, if it's going to translate into October. I'm going Birds.
You're going Birds. Okay.
I feel like you could trash talk now with Tatum and be like 0 minutes. 0 minutes.
I know.
Your mom going to call?
Yeah.
Where's your mom at? Where's your mom? Get your mom to call? Like,
Oh,
in his head now?
I saw that. That was great.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of the Olympics, let's go best and worst of the Olympics. It ended yesterday. Clearly, and nobody can have this, clearly Embiid was the best for the Olympics with us, played with all those stars, was indoctrinated into the club by LeBron, KD, and Steph. And it was a great weekend of basketball, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, from the Serbia to the gold medal game to the women's game against France. Like, it was a fun weekend. But clearly the best for us was Embiid.
For sure.
So put that off to the side, and I'll start with you, JP. The best and worst of the Olympics.
I will say we had a lot of funny moments and funny memes from this Olympics. So I'm going to go with the best was the French pole vault jumper and his Johnson. That was freaking hilarious. And the memes that came after that as well.
So good.
That was the best. The worst, it might be the best as well, but the Australian breakdance. Did you guys hear about this? The Australian breakdancer?
Yeah.
Tell everybody.
Ray Gun,
The B girl.
the B girl. She was freaking hilarious. So it looks like she's actually a university lecturer in Sydney, Australia. She has a jazz and ballroom dancing background, but she actually studies the cultural politics of breakdancing, which is hilarious as well. But she states that her dancing is not like the other girls who obviously show a little more athleticism, but she shows creativity. And, you could be the judge of her creativity, but it was hilarious. I wouldn't really call it breakdancing, but that was the worst of the Olympics.
Have you seen it?
No.
Because
It's a nug. I got a nug if you want to see it now.
Let's see it. Showed it. I didn't see
It's
it.
kind of embarrassing. Like,
Yeah.
she is all over TikTok now as a meme.
She's got the kangaroo.
Yeah, I mean, she basically says, I can't dance like the people she's competing against are like half her age.
Yeah,
they're all like
that's
18-year-olds, 20-year-olds. She's
Right.
36. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, I know.
How
that-
does she go to
Look at
represent?
this, dude. I mean,
Oh yeah.
this
oh
is
yeah.
her breakdancing. I mean, we grew up watching like Breakin' and Beat Street.
Dude.
Well, come on.
Oh my God,
what
what
is
is
this,
that?
right?
I hope the kangaroo hop
Oh, that's
is in here.
horrible.
Australia, this is the best. This is the best they got in Australia for breakdancing.
But they have good dancers in Australia, which is crazy.
Do they?
They do. I didn't know that they have that they had great dancers in Australia.
I've seen some good breakers in Australia. I don't know where
You
they
have
good
good
breakers.
breakers.
You've been watching the
What?
breakdance community
You
of
are
Australia?
There was a point in my life where I did enjoy a lot of breakdancing. It's been a long time.
Australian breakdance. Oh my God. All right, BG, best and worst of the Olympics.
Snoop was the best.
Oh, that's a good point.
I
That
can't
was
get
good
enough
one,
of him.
man.
I'm glad he's coming back. You see, he made the flight back. He finished up in L.A. last night at the handoff. He performed with Dr. Dre on the beach for the
Wow.
closing ceremonies. Yeah, I can't get enough of the Snoop, man. I'm glad he's coming back. He makes 500 G's a day.
I know, dude.
Plus expenses.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad work. Worst.
Worst is, just another one I'm bringing up earlier. Did you see this Jordan Childs bronze medal
Yes.
drama?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
They said they didn't put the
U.S. appeals
inquiry in after you get a minute for the
Yeah.
inquiry, and they said it came in at a minute 4.
Yeah.
And the USA says, no. We got evidence that shows it came within the
Well,
minute.
like the next day, they got
Yeah.
additional evidence that says they did it twice within the minute. And it's just like, I don't know, we need this stupid drug. Like, this is just ridiculous.
I know.
A minute 4. It's just put a damper on. Like, the final day, we have this drama going on. There's no need for it.
No.
It's like a minute and a minute 4 to put an inquiry in.
Yes. No, it was ridiculous. Skeeves, what do you got? Best and worst of the Olympics?
My best was definitely that guy, the shooter that had like.
Oh, he was the
I think
best.
he was
Turkish
the best.
guy?
Yeah, the Turkish guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was one of the biggest memes that came out as well, aside the Johnson man.
Yeah, Johnson, man.
Um,
Johnson, man!
Mr.
man.
Johnson.
My worst, and this might just be biased or opinionated, but I don't like Tom Cruise, and I don't know why he's jumping out of the stadium.
You're anti-Cruz?
I'm anti-Cruise.
Tom Cruise. He's like an
Anti-TC.
American icon, a hero.
He's Mitch McDeer.
I think he's a little corny.
What?
He's corny.
little, but he's not corny.
I think he's corny.
Come on, bro.
Top Gun's a great movie. I'll give it to him.
What?
But
Every blockbuster he is decent. The Mission Impossibles are great.
They
corny
missed the
coming
run
out of
like
the stadium.
before their time. The Cruise run,
Yeah.
Few Good Men.
Yeah, but
Mission Impossible
now he
scarred me
does
as a
these
kid.
giant blockbusters.
You believe that, don't you, Kathy? That I'm here for your hey, do anything you need. You believe that? You got to ask me nicely. And the best is his face. Like, he was actually great. Like, in those movies, he was great. Like, he was great in A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
He was great in I was joking around Mitch McDeer. That's he's the lawyer that's in the mob, the law firms run by the mob.
Yeah. Is that called The Firm?
The Firm,
Yeah.
excuse
We
me.
talked
Yeah.
about it Friday. Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, he does his own stunts. He's on planes.
Yeah,
what do you hate
come on,
on
bro.
Tom? That's like hating on like
Listen,
it's just a little
pizza.
corny. I don't know. Like,
Man,
Come on, you know what?
I mean, he's a little plain baby, but
he's insane
but
in that head,
but he was great. Like, he was a great actor. He was fun. He was
Yeah.
like he always did a good job.
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah.
It's very hard to pull off those big blockbusters.
You're a
without being-
lousy softball player, Jack. Come on, man. Cruz, man. You kidding me? All right. Now, let's take it personal. Best and worst of the weekend. So I'll give you my best. And you have my picture? There's my best of the weekend. So the 11U Warriors played at the Beach Wildwood tournament. And look at this. They make a field
Yeah, this is just-
off of the sand.
This is insane.
Right? Like,
cuz.
see the lines on the
Is there
sand?
grass?
That's sand.
There's no. There's
No,
no
they
grass.
have a roller, and they steamroll the
I like
sand
that.
tight.
So how's the ball when it bounces off it? Is it?
It's a little deadening,
Yeah.
but it's not bad.
Huh.
It's not because the sand is packed so tight because
Yeah.
they steamroll it down,
Yeah.
and so you get a deal. It's not getting a true hop, but
Yeah.
it's
Huh.
not bad. And they have the outfield and the fences. It's pretty good. It's fun. They built 5 of them.
Wow.
It reminds me of like backyard baseball for anyone who's ever played that on PC. It looks like a field that would have came out of that video game.
It's pretty cool because you're looking at it and they have like stands set up behind home plate and you're watching. You see the ocean in the background.
Let's put a minor league team out there too.
It's really cool. That Wildwood beach, like from the crest to Wildwood, is like the Sahara Desert.
Oh yeah.
Like it's see where you can see where the water is there. Mm-hmm. There's still like behind me, right to the boardwalk, is another
2 miles.
Yes, it's
long.
unbelievable.
It's insane, man.
It really is crazy. But clearly, that was my favorite part of the weekend. Watching the kids play ball on the beach.
That is awesome.
How was the boardwalk?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Always
Wildwood,
lively.
right? It's always fun.
Yeah.
Wildwood is like Kid Vegas.
Yeah.
Like they were on the water park and they got stuff for adults and all the treats you want.
Mm-hmm.
A slice of Max.
Ooh,
nice.
Delicious.
Slice of pizza on the boardwalk.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean,
hell yeah.
perfect.
Did you get the waffle ice cream sandwich?
Anthony did.
Nice.
Yeah, Anthony got the waffle ice cream.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Good treat.
Yeah, it was a good weekend in Wildwood. Love Wildwood. All right. Give me your best and worst of the weekend. Let's go your worst, JP.
All right, so I got talked into doing the Rocky 5K run, and my wife wanted to. She's never really done like the tour, kind of like the movie sites of Rocky. So we're going down Front Street, and just the amount of change on Front Street, like I don't even recognize, and the fact that they
You don't recognize it.
they keep going back and back and back. Like Lehigh Valley is Lehigh Avenue, I'm sorry, is unrecognizable, and so just the gentrification. I just kind of hate seeing like the characters that some of these buildings used to have, and now they just look like box houses essentially. So that's definitely my worst. The best, Friday night, producing the Eagle show. Bo and Zach have such great interactions. Zach is in this press box with a bunch of different writers calling into the show. And Bo just has Zach just saying outrageous stuff, like asking him what's his favorite type of underwear. And just their interaction is freaking hilarious. And so that was my best.
Bo's got a great personality.
Guys,
Got
make
that
sure you watch the Eagle
wit.
show.
Yeah, it's a fun. He's terrific.
Great chemistry.
All right, VG, best and worst of the weekend.
Best was Saturday night. Me and the Pagan went to see Slipknot over at the
how was
Freedom
that?
Mortgage Pavilion. It was fun.
Yeah?
I got to meet up with one of our listeners, Casper.
Love
That's
Casper.
me and Casper hanging out, man.
What's up,
There you
Casper?
go, Casper.
Slipknot.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Worst of the weekend. There are some great smells to wake up to in the morning, like bacon and coffee. Dog poop, not one of them.
No.
Yeah, so my dog at 5:30 yesterday morning gives me the lick, and I'm like, go back to bed. It's 5:30. And then I hear like little feet prancing around, and it's like, so waking up to the turd.
That's no
But it's my
good,
own
dude.
fault because she tried to tell me. I was like, I'm not going out at 5:30 in the morning. Get out
That's
of here.
no good.
Does your dog hate going out when it rains?
Yes.
Yeah, my dogs don't mess
Yeah,
with
Goops
the
that's
rain.
like
my
it.
problem too.
Yeah.
And then she'll pee on the rug. She's got her spot.
Yeah.
That's the worst too.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah, no good. No good. All right. Let's talk about Parks Casino Street Road in Ben Salem. We love our Parks Casino, mecca of entertainment. I tell you about it. It's coming up Wednesday. Summer's rocking. The happy hour, epic $5 happy hour at Parks Casino Street Road in Ben Salem. You got to check it out, the Liberty Bell Gastropub. I mean, my God, you want the $5 drafts. So that incredible beer that you have, $5 a draft, $5 for a Cabernet, the Albertoni Cabernet, $5 for the drink of summer, the frozen twisted tea, Arnold Palmer's. You love that. Braised short ribs for $5. The braised short ribs sliders, honey chicken sliders, $5. I mean, they just got it going. It's unbelievable. They have all kinds of stuff. The steakhouse is ridiculous. The restaurants, the Noodle House, Bamboo Noodle House is unbelievable with this sushi. You got to check that out. Of course, you got state-of-the-art casino with all the table games you want, all the slots that you want. They have a sports book that is magnificent, that's just waiting for you for Saturdays and Sundays in the fall, a wonderful poker room, and, of course, top-flight entertainment, all right, that 1,500-seat Excite Center. Tiffany Haddish is coming in September. So is JB Smoove. He's coming in September. They have all the great acts. Go to parkscasino.com to see the lineup, man, and to check out all things Parks Casino. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parks Casino, this is how you win.
Hey, man, your eyes are important. I like eyesight, seeing, vision, so
it is good.
I'm a man of sunglasses. I like to protect my eyes from the UV rays, whether it's summer or all year round. So go over and check our friends out over at Shady Rays. They got you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank because polarized glasses can be quite expensive. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures. They got hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find a perfect pair to match your style. And they probably have colors in your favorite team's colors. And I'm sure they do, because I've seen some Phillies kind of reds over there. I like my Shady Rays when I walk the dogs along the river. The glare from the water, the polarized shades take care of that. What's cool about these are if your shades ever go missing or they take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by the lost or broken replacements guarantee. If you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal this season. Head to ShadyRays.com and use code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
All right, buddy. We love it. Now, to help us out, we had him on a couple weeks ago.
You're going to push me over the edge.
Yeah, we had him on a couple weeks ago, and he said he needs to see how this team played post All-Star break. So let's bring him in. He is the incredible baseball man himself, been covering the Phillies and Major League Baseball for a lifetime. He's the great Jim Salsbury. Jimmy!
What's up, Ant? Go easy on me, man. It's not my fault that they're not playing good.
I know it is. I know it's not your fault. And we really come for your wise kind of talk us off the ledge type of thing.
Oh,
but
okay.
I look at it like this. The thing that worries me the most about them is the starting pitching. That has me a little freaked. The bats, I think they'll come. I don't worry about the bats, but the starting pitching has me a little worried.
Yeah, I mean, and the bats, it would be nice if they would produce with runners in scoring position and get their pitchers more runs and therefore more margin for error. But I hear you. I mean, everything starts with starting pitching in this game. It's the foundation of all good teams. It was the foundation on which, the Phillies built the best record in baseball at midseason. And still have the best, one of the best records in baseball. But it has fallen off. They've had some injuries. Obviously, Suarez kind of leveled off. They went on the IL. We've seen a little bit of a leveling off in Nola and Sanchez. I think that's with Nola's case. I mean, we've seen this before. He has some, dips in his performance during the season, but he can turn it around in a hurry. Sanchez, inconsistent. He had that great start in Dodger Stadium, and then he struggled yesterday. Wheeler's been Wheeler, but the starting pitching, definitely a concern with several others on this team. And, they need Suarez back, not just back, they need him dealing, and they need Nola dealing. They need those big three looking like the best trio in the National League. So, we'll see.
Yeah. So what's Suarez? What's the timetable, for Suarez? And then, let's start with that because then I have a Sanchez question for you.
Yeah, Suarez. So he threw off a mound in Arizona over the weekend. And tomorrow the plan is to take a look at him against some hitters. And Rob Thompson said they're going to push him a little bit. So it sounds like a little bit of a test maybe before a rehab starts. So tomorrow's a big day to see how he's feeling. And they hope to have him back sometime next week when they go to Atlanta and Kansas City. So they're hoping to have him back the week of the 19th. We'll see. They need him.
They need him. And they need him right. Like that. Like to me, I look at it and I feel all right with Nola. I mean, Wheeler's Wheeler. but you got to have that third spot. So Sanchez, what's your comfort level with him right now? And I'm really kind of looking forward to the playoffs. Like, where are you at with him? Comfort level.
It depends if he's locating. If he's locating, then I'm really comfortable with him. We've seen some really good outings from this guy. Outings where he gets a lot of soft contact, keeps the ball down, gets a lot of ground balls. And then we've seen other ones like yesterday where all of a sudden he's up a little bit and teams are just teeing off on him. He signed that big contract, had a great first half. And maybe at times we failed to recognize he's still a young, learning, ascending pitcher just because he had that first half and got that contract. So he's still going to have ups and downs. He's just been inconsistent. We've seen him dial up great ones like in Dodger Stadium. We've seen him struggle. There needs to be more good ones. They just need more good ones from the entire rotation. Something's got to click here. Either the starting rotation, the bullpen's got to throw more strikes, or the offense has got to come alive kind of after the middle of the order down. They need to lengthen that lineup because I don't think it's just one element that could kind of get this team going again. I think a series of good starts could get them going. I also think getting the offense going, taking advantage when you have runners in scoring position, getting the energy in the ballpark, getting guys on base, creating that kind of wave of emotion that you see in the ballpark when they have runners on base and they're scoring a lot of runs. They need guys like Trey Turner to get going, Stott and Marsh to get going, to lengthen that lineup because you've gotten enough out of Harper lately. You've gotten enough out of Castellanos. Schwarber's still going to electrify with a big hit early in games. It's just the lineup right now is kind of short. And earlier in the season, it was long, and it needs to get going again, kind of firing on all cylinders.
So I'll pose this question to you because I heard it all weekend from all the people down in Wildwood, which is the Eagles 10-1 slide into the ocean. Is that the Phillies? Or is it deja vu?
Well, I don't think so. I have a hard time seeing this team all out collapsing. And they're very different sports. They play 162. What do they play in NFL? 17? It's like... Yeah. The amount of games is not even comparable. But that said, I understand why people are concerned. You'd like to see them playing a better brand of ball, and it's we're getting into mid-August, and it's time to do that because you want to have the momentum and that memory muscle in place when you go into October. I just don't think we're going to see that level of a collapse because I think this team is just too good for it. I think they've built a really good lead. I mean, that may have sapped some of their edge, some of their urgency, but 6 teams are going to make the playoffs in the National League. They have a 7.5 game lead on the Braves, an 8 game lead on the Mets. Hey, anything can happen, but I just don't see them losing that lead. But they better go into October with feeling good and playing good, or else you could be a quick out like in 2011, like happened last year in games 6 and 7. So I still think they're okay. But that said, since they took off for London, they're 5 games under 500. Yeah, not good enough. I mean, in the second half, they had the second worst record in baseball. Not good enough. As a matter of fact, way not good enough. What are they? They're way better than they've shown lately. It's really, I thought Harper yesterday after the game, he kind of looked like he had gone through the ringer. And when he was asked about the Diamondbacks, he said, they ain't scared. They play the game the right way. I almost felt like he was message sending to his own clubhouse, like, hey, let's stop messing around here and start taking it to people.
Let's go. And, it's interesting. Before I go to Mr. Panic here next to me. I do want to say this, and we've covered this game for a long time, and you see it, right? Like you see these moments, man. I've seen them have horrible stuff. Go back to 2 years ago, the Cubs series when they were losing, like they were playing awful baseball, and then that one day in St. Louis in a wild card game, the fortunes changed. Baseball, that's why I can't freak out in early August, on August 12th, because I just seen this time and time again, man. I've seen that, it could be go in '08 when the Astros series and they got hot, right? Like you've seen at different points in September kind of click or not click.
You mentioned that game in St. Louis, that wild card game. One inning changed the entire month.
Yeah.
I mean, they really didn't hit that entire series. It was only 2 games, but up until that last inning. And the manager of the Cardinals, Carlos Marmol, he sticks with Ryan Helsley, who can't throw a strike. Next thing you know, Segura flicks one into right field. And it's a merry-go-round around the bases, and all of a sudden momentum is back, and they carry it right into the World Series. So, yeah, one at-bat can change things.
And I remember how bad it looked. It felt awful leading up to it because the Cubs were awful, and they, swept the Phillies? Well, the Phillies needed to just clinch the playoff spot, and they kept struggling, and they got beat up by the Cubs.
Yeah, that was a terrible series. I was at that series in Wrigley Field, and they were having all kinds of trouble. And then, did they go to Washington right after that?
Yes.
And they were sitting through all these rain delays.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
Schwarber had a couple big games, maybe in a doubleheader, and it kind of righted the ship.
Yeah, they put a doubleheader on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was when, look, I'm not a big fan of panic, but you were like, really, this is the season here. It's do or die. I don't see that we're there yet, but I do think, and I don't know that we will get there for the lead they've built, but I do think 1 or 2 performances can help turn things around. It was right about this time last year when Trey Turner got going. It would be really good if he got going here. He's lost like 50 points on his batting average since the start of, since they came back from the All-Star break. When he's going good offensively, has an infectious quality through the whole lineup. Be really good to see him get going here. Bullpen needs to throw more strikes. We've talked about it a lot. This is baseball. Teams go through funks, but I will acknowledge you have every right to be frustrated, every right to be ticked off because this funk, this struggle, this inconsistency, it's gone on way too long for a team of this quality. Way too long.
All right, so Dr. Panic next to me. He is Peter Panic. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he's saying everything that I'm thinking. We talked to Jim like 2 weeks ago, and you said, if this goes on for another week, it's time to start being concerned. And we're about 10 days past that. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like a funk to me at this point. We're a third of the season. They're 24-30. I mean, that's a long stretch. And they're leaking out of every aspect of the game right now, it feels like. And
it's sort of been going on for like 55 games when they left from London. I still think in the big picture, they're in good shape. 6 teams are going to make the playoffs. I don't see them being caught in the division. I know it's happened before, but I just don't see them being caught in the division. I think they're too veteran. I just don't think the quality of the division is good enough. The Braves are hurt. You just don't know about the Mets. I think they're going to get there, and anything can happen once you get there. But I understand your frustration. You would like to see them play better.
It feels like their edge, like they've lost a little like mental edge a bit. Like their vibe is weird.
I totally agree with you that they've lost some edge. Maybe some complacency set in with the big lead, with not being challenged, with everything going smoothly. This team's been very resilient the last couple of years. We hear that cliche all the time. They overcame injuries to get to the World Series. They had a lot of resilience last year. It's time to show some now, just in simply digging yourself out of this funk. It's time to show, when Harper said yesterday about the Diamondbacks, they don't scare. I've seen a little loss of edge in the Phillies and maybe a little tentativeness, and I think it was his way of saying, let's get that back here. So I think you're right on saying they have lost some edge. It's almost obvious, and they can get it back, and it's time to get it back. They got 2 teams coming up here that they should knock the snot out of, and they need to. They're going to be big crowds, but I wouldn't. If these crowds get frustrated, they start losing.
I wouldn't
blame them for being frustrated. It's a situation where they need. Look at with runners in scoring position. In Arizona, they were like 7 for 34. It was awful. There's opportunities there. You got to cash in. Like to see them get back playing kind of loose, not thinking too much. But sometimes you do think too much when you're really struggling. It can weigh on you. I just think they need to go out tomorrow night and have score a bunch of runs early, relax, and just kind of let it happen. But it's time they got their edge back.
Well, what's going to really tell the tale going into September, 3 at Atlanta, 3 at Kansas City, who's nasty, 3 at home against the Stros, and 4 at home against Atlanta. And that takes you to September 1st. So that's 13 games that will define our feelings going into September.
Yeah, I'd like to see the starting pitching, especially the big 3, look like they did early on. I'd like to see Trey Turner really get it going.
Yeah, and JT. JT needs to get it going.
Yeah, and he's a streaky guy, and they could really use his bat. Right now you're looking at like after 4th or 5th in the lineup, they're not getting much.
Yeah,
and you need to get more from the balance of your lineup. I kind of wonder if Rob would shake a little something up here, coming home after kind of a very difficult series in Arizona where they didn't do enough. He's known for being very steady. This is a very steady organization, but I do think you can sometimes put a little cattle prod on some people in action. I don't think you have to berate them or tip anything over in the clubhouse or smash any furniture, but sometimes somebody sits, you move something around, bring in a new body, it can wake some people up. So we'll see.
it is interesting because this time of the year, they don't really have the arm that's ready to go. But good teams this time of the year, when they're a little funky, things start to go, get a little dicey in August, is when teams like to bring that shot of youth up. Like if you have one of those pitchers ready to go where you just slot it, but they're not really in that position.
No, they don't have like a hired gun down. If they did, he'd be here. They've had so many injuries. But they do have a guy named Ranger Suarez who I'm hoping is champing at the bit, ready to go. I'm really interested to see when he gets back, how he looks. Is he attacking? How's his stuff? Because that'll tell us if he's healthy and if there's more to this back thing. Because it just seems to me like it's taken a while.
I know. They got to be careful with him. I get it. Hey, last thing, Jimmy, it's August 12th. Does that date mean anything to you?
August 12th. It probably should, right?
Well, it's indelible in my mind. Every August 12th, I think about the strike year. And
that's right.
It was the last day of the strike.
You were at the vet because the Mets were there.
Yes. In fact, the players had gotten a bus. So they reserved the bus to take them back to Shea to get their cars because nobody knew what was going on. And the team wasn't giving them transportation back. So they rented a bus. So I asked, I guess it was Franco, who was the player rep, can I come on the bus? He's like, yeah. So I wrote a story somewhere along the Jersey Turnpike, and it was like heading into this unknown. And those guys were, everybody was drinking beers and hanging out, and it was pretty loose because everybody thought that the strike would get settled in a couple weeks, and it lasted until the following spring.
I remember that. I remember that night like it was yesterday. And I remember it was the Mets in town at the vet, and it was really eerie. And one of the things I remember is after the game, some of the Phillies players were like they drive a truck or an SUV. They were driving them down the ramp, driving them right onto the field and backing up to the dugout and loading equipment in their SUVs or their trucks. And I'm like looking at them loading equipment. I can still see Ricky Jordan loading equipment. And I'm like, wow, they must think they're going to be out a long time. And they were out a long time. It was really something. But yeah, I remember that night vividly.
Just weird, certain dates that stick in your mind. And I'm like, wow, man, this is pre-Citizens Bank Park. This is, the old, ugly vet. And it was it. And this is when baseball took the biggest hit in Philadelphia, right? Like during that period, it took a while for it to come back.
Well, it coincided with a rebuild.
Yeah.
They came back. They stopped trying to kind of clothe the skeleton of '93, and they committed to a rebuild in '97 and 96, '97, and it took a while. It took really until the new stadium opened and they didn't get back to the playoffs. It was a 14-year playoff drought, so you had a big playoff drought, you had a rebuild, and you had the kind of the ill will coming off the strike. Yeah, it really did hit hard in Philadelphia. I remember covering those teams a lot of nights in Veterans Stadium when the announced crowd was 12,000, but the actual was probably 6.
Yep.
It was like Philadelphia was a dormant baseball town, and then the new ballpark and Jim Thome and Utley, Howard, Rollins, they came and all of a sudden started winning, and it reawakened and became the great baseball town it is. I always hear people say, "Oh, it's a football town, it's a baseball town, it's this." You know what? It's a winner's town. You can have 12 teams, but they all win. People will love it.
Yes. Sports town. I'm with you, Jimmy. Great stuff, my brother. We appreciate it. So you do say, for VG's purposes, that we will be A-OK.
I'm going to tell VG that they're going to get to the postseason, and then they got to play good. They got to throw strikes out the bullpen. They got to get 7 innings out of the rotation. They got to hit. They got to move runners. They got to do all the crap that they ain't doing for crap right now.
The great Jim Salisbury. Thanks, my brother. We love you, buddy.
See you guys.
All right. You know what today's back in the day Rite Aid moment is? So we could put that up. JP told me about this. This is interesting. The back in the day Rite Aid moment, the anniversary was Saturday. VG, it was T.O. doing sit-ups in the driveway.
Nice.
Oh, boy, I'll never forget that.
Where were you guys when that happened?
I was doing sports. I was doing the whole thing. I think I was on TV.
Were you live when that happened?
I was definitely live on the air. Yeah, I was on the radio.
So
and then
bizarre.
I did a Fox thing after that. Yeah.
I can only imagine your face when someone hands you the paper, yo, T.O. right now is doing sit-ups.
We had helicopters in Morristown.
He's pulling out the bench.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And, this lingered, and it was Joe Banner, right? Just did not want to relinquish and redo the contract. He signed T.O. to a great contract. But, T.O.'s like, dude, I balled out. I busted my ass to get back. He was the best player in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? He and the trainer who's in Kansas City with Andy, Rick Burkholder, that worked daily. He worked hard to rehab, to get back and play in that game. And he felt like he should have been rewarded, and he should have been.
Yeah.
And that really tarnished the whole season.
I know he wasn't, obviously got hurt, December or November, late November that year. But, you could clearly tell he was a big difference. They were probably the best team in the regular season that year.
Easily the best team.
You mentioned the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl performance
That was the one year I went, they were a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
You didn't know what was going to happen. You felt the Patriots, but you knew that nobody in the NFC would touch them. They played Green Bay. Green Bay was the second best team in the NFC, and they absolutely destroyed them. Yeah. So, you knew it. But that moment, dude, T.O., and that really created a division between T.O. and Donovan and everything else.
Yeah, Donovan didn't have his back.
Yeah.
He was upset.
Yeah. That was our Rite Aid
Crazy
back in the moment.
Dude, you hear those jets outside?
Yeah, what's
Check
happening?
this out. It's
I'm kind of worried.
Tricolori. It's the Italian Air Force. They're flying around. They're doing a show. They have red, white, and green coming out of their tails of their jets as they're flying around the city right now.
Wow, that's awesome. That's all. The bros, that's cool, man.
First giddy like a 6-year-old out there taking pictures.
Yeah, that's cool, bro.
Dude, this is great.
Yeah.
I was sitting at the desk and I heard a rumble. And
yeah, I did too. And part of me got nervous knowing the state of the world.
Yeah, and I saw the article this morning that I knew the Italian Air Force was flying over. I didn't know they were dropping flag colors and all that.
It's awesome.
So it's basically from Spring Garden Street up to City Hall. It was a huge Italian flag color.
Oh, really?
And I think they went by 2 or 3 times.
Oh, that's fabulous.
I was hoping little prosciutto air soldiers were gonna get dropped out, and I could go out there and catch them.
It's raining off. Let's go.
Yeah, like the marshmallow man.
That's
Eat 'em up.
awesome.
It was pretty cool though.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Look at
so
that.
I thought you would love it. So I
They
snapped a
should
couple
have did
pictures.
it on Wednesday because Wednesday is Italian Heritage Night at Citizens Bank Park.
Ah, yeah.
Look at that.
It was cool.
That's awesome,
All
man.
right. Philly show coming up. I'll see you guys.
Yeah, what time, Phillies?
11.
Perfect.
All right. Peace.
As soon as
Thanks,
we're
Jay.
done, go right to Bro and Renee for the Philly show.
It's our first North American tour in over 30 years.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Italian-
Next stop,
Italian-
Ocean City, Maryland.
All right. Very cool.
Italian Air Force.
All right. So give us, it's time now for a little VG's.
Do some
nuts.
dogs. All right. Jake Berger's a guy I can't stand. I hate the look of him on the Marlins.
Yeah.
Marlins snapped the Padres' 8-game winning streak yesterday. Jake Berger had a home run. They tweeted out a really odd picture. What is this, dude? Of sunflower seeds falling into Jake Berger's mouth. There's like a hot dog meme of similar things out there floating around.
It's not right.
That's weird.
Weird. Yeah.
It's
you're
not right.
Kidding. Super weird. I mean,
Good job, MLB.
yeah. You saw Tyrese Halliburton. He's a man who doesn't take himself too seriously. He didn't play during the Olympics. And he tweeted out holding a picture of his gold medal. When you ain't do none on the group project and you still get an A.
That's very good.
Awesome,
Yeah.
That's a great. That is awesome. That's fantastic. I like that Halliburton. He's got a good eye. He's got a good head on his shoulders
Yeah,
too.
he does.
Yeah, they were trying to they showed him on the bench during the game. Like, he's the future. It's a good experience for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Maxie on there next time.
That would be really nice.
Maxey and Embiid.
Well, I don't know if you can get beat the next time.
4 years later.
4 years from now, I just want a championship. All right, that's all I want.
That parade down Broad.
Carmelo was super happy at the win. Steph hit a shot. Carmelo is airborne back there.
Whoa.
Jumping as Steph's running
Get him back in
with
the league. Look at that.
He gets good air with the old school Converse Chuck Taylors.
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
He got a lot of good FaceTime, Melo.
Yeah. I mean,
Calling out plays.
yeah, he
He's
deserves
like,
it.
you see, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember it was Melo and AI
Yeah.
in Denver?
I do.
Yeah.
Young Mello, the braids. Oh, it's
Here they
back,
come
cuz.
again.
It's
Here come
back.
the Jets are rolling by.
Wow. Italian Air Force.
They were right overhead. I just saw them in the window.
Circling in the
Did you
studio.
see the colors?
There was about 10 of them. I didn't
Yeah?
see the colors, but there was about 10 of them that just flew over us.
That's cool.
Dylan laughs. Thank God, Jerry.
Bro's looking for prosciutto to drop down from the plane. What are you dropping cured meats for the plane?
I'm in. Some more to Dell.
God bless. Jerry Jones is still alive. He doubled down on his
God
CD
bless, he's still
tweets.
alive.
There's nothing better for the Eagles and the NFC than Jerry Jones still running the show. So he did an interview. He doubled down saying there's no urgency with CD right now because he wouldn't have played tonight anyway. He's not going to play any time during the preseason. We got it here.
I think I got in trouble a little the other day when I said, look, we're not urgent about CD. Well, no one appreciates CD being on the field any more than I do. But let me say this, he wouldn't be taking a snap out here today if he'd been here for all. You got to use your head when you expose key players. That gives the other younger players a chance to do it. We know exactly what CD can do, and he's worked out with Dak. And so we wouldn't have him out here. It has really not anything to do with his contract. Dak won't be out here this afternoon. And so the bottom line is, what it is no, there's not that urgency. Now, I understand completely the angst that's happening when you are anxious about and someone says anything about whether you're missed or not. Well, CD, you're missed, okay? But you're not missed out here competing, and it doesn't put any pressure any place on us. It's not pressure out here today and in practice.
I mean, he's missed. Just pay him. CD, you're missed.
Dude,
Just pay him.
he's senile.
I don't
What's he
understand.
talking about?
He's going
To this
senile.
day, I don't know what they do with their cap.
Right?
Right? Like their three best players are all contract disputes.
Yeah.
Like little Micah, like that thing starts to bubble up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he wants serious cash.
He's gonna go on his
He
podcast.
needs it.
Yeah.
Start
Like,
talking about
and
it.
he deserves
He's
it.
going to be the highest paid non-quarterback.
Yes. He is a wrecking ball.
What are they still paying Troy, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt
It's
Smith?
unbelievable.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, hey, look, like VG said,
Yeah, keep him around,
Yeah.
him and
Yeah,
the
no,
son.
thank God,
And what a
right.
duo those two are.
and I keep looking at their depth, and I know people go, "Wow, listen, they got some good young talent." All right, you know.
But like you say, like there's no sense of urgency signing your best player. Like we know he's not going to play now, but dude, that's your best offensive player.
Yeah, you got 3 weeks.
This guy's got to get in football shape.
Like you got 3 weeks.
I can't wait to watch it all fall apart.
Oh, for
and
sure. It's
crumble,
enjoyable.
and I'm going to be sitting there
The
laughing.
here's the beauty of it, right? Like you look at this division, and you go, "All right, it's there's turmoil in Dallas. Washington's a rebuild. The Giants."
We saw what happened on Hard Knocks with the Giants. Oh my God!
Right. I mean, this is it. Like this is a huge opportunity, just like right before you, and you're stacked, right? Like you're stacked. I mean, I don't even want to say it. Like it makes me nervous, but it's just waiting for you. My God.
Women's 4x400 medley. Pure dominance. Like Americans are ridiculous in this track and field event. This is America in the front.
There's just nobody else on the screen.
Second place. Wow. These people trained for 4 years for this competition, and they're barely in the screen with the Americans on this race. These women killed it.
Wait, even like we're the Jamaicans, so aren't they usually like killing in this competition?
They weren't in that event, not at all.
Kudos to the Americans.
We like our weightlifters we talked about.
Yes.
Yeah. There's this Indonesian guy, Rizky Junian Sia, I think. If I butchered that, I'm sorry. He weighs 160 pounds.
This is impressive.
Clean and jerk, he did 437.
Oh my God!
Because this is insane.
Pounds.
Oh my
This
God!
for an Olympic record, clean and jerk.
Yeah, Olympic record.
Young from Tokyo.
Insane,
437.
dude.
Whoa.
Oh
Yes.
my God!
Whoa,
And
indeed.
he held it.
Yeah! 436 pounds.
And a gold.
And he's done.
I guess so.
Done for 4 years.
Oh my God! I'm surprised when he has it like lifted over his head.
He's not shaking or anything?
No, he's like yes. Now, could you? I'm just amazed. Imagine the floor about to sink with him.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it'd be great if you just drop through the floor. just
My
the
God.
bars left on the floor.
God, that's outrageous.
Just
No, that's
crushes
really
the floor.
impressive.
Can you imagine
The muscle mass on
when
that guy.
you do that and then you throw the weights down? Oh, you're like the feeling, man. That's incredible.
Barely do 267.
Dude,
These
he's
guys doing
160
467.
pounds. He can probably lift me and you over his head.
That's unbelievable.
Crazy. Hey, have you ever wondered how our horses get to these Olympic events for our equestrian events? They have a special plane called Air Horse One.
Oh my God, get out of here. Air Horse One. Oh, that's fabulous. Air Horse One.
Yeah,
oh
they got
God.
like better, but more leg room than we do for sure.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Dude, you fly American International, coach.
Coach, I can't.
Like,
I can't do it.
Oh no, you.
I got to do exit row. I got to pay up.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like this.
Crazy.
You can't even move for 8 hours. You're just like,
That's rough, man.
Megan's like 5 foot. She's like in a king size bed, curled up in the chair, and having a ball. All right, there's the Olympics, but there's another. This guy David Rush, he set 15 Guinness World Records in one day.
What?
15?
Yes, I gotta pull up this guy's. The first one he did. He started the day doing 198 bites out of 3 apples while juggling them in a minute.
Wait. So he's juggling 3 apples.
Yes.
And as he's juggling, he takes how many bites?
198.
Is someone helping him
bites
with this?
in a minute?
Are you serious?
Doing this on his own.
So
Yeah, but how does that? After all those bites, like the apple's gone, right? Like
you would think, right? Yeah.
Well, if you take like little
What are you going
bitty
like?
bites.
You know.
So like the
Do
next.
you juggle?
Nah,
I can't.
I tried.
I
Of
bet
course this
Steve's
guy-
good.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah, he
Of
course,
juggles
Steve.
while doing some tap dancing.
You're going to juggle tomorrow on the show.
I could. Yeah, definitely.
Where
I
you
went to
gonna
clown
juggle?
school. I went to clown school.
That's
Perfect.
the perfect, greatest thing ever that Skeeves went to clown school.
Yeah, went for a week.
So you were thinking about being a clown?
No. We were doing like a vaudevillian piece, theater, and I was playing this like Italian, jester, and I had to learn how to juggle.
Wow.
Was that all that was on the curriculum for the week, juggling, or were there other
There were
skills?
other things, yeah.
What
Spraying-
other
spraying
skills do
water
you have?
guns?
Like
I can
what
do,
else
like,
do you need to
those
learn
on-
about
I can do like
clowns?
fire twirl, juggling. I can do the
So you could juggle fire?
yeah, or twirl it. I can't really.
Yeah.
I do stick twirl, stuff like that. Yeah.
Does not surprise me
No.
that he's a graduate of the clown school.
Yes.
That's fabulous, by the way, dude. That's fantastic.
Other feats this guy tackled, he bounced a table tennis ball on 2 bottle caps 10 times using alternate hands in 2.09 seconds.
He what?
He bounced a table tennis ball on 2 bottle caps 10 times using alternate hands in 2.09 seconds. He the other one featured.
How does one practice that? Like,
dude,
the ping pong ball bottle cap trick.
how do you even think of this?
He featured table tennis balls were the most table tennis balls bounced against a wall with the mouth in 30 seconds. 47. The most hits of a table tennis ball against a wall in 1 minute, 398. The most table tennis balls bounced and caught in shaving foam on the head in 30 seconds. 16 of them.
Cause
I want to see you break it.
Oh, the foam. Let's put a bunch of shaving cream on his head.
Yeah.
Catch 17 balls in his head. That's David Rush, another great athlete.
a goat, the goat of goats.
Have you guys seen what's been washing up on the shores of Florida with this Debbie remnants?
No. Oh, the cocaine.
Cocaine is
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
It's been like
Yes.
3 times.
Yes.
$1 million worth on one beach popped up on one day.
Wow.
Like, look at, like, that's unbelievable.
That's just, I think it's happened 3 or 4 different beaches now.
What is on the packages? Is that the logo?
It's the logo, yeah.
Like, what happened to the
Like, yeah, what
cocaine
happens-
boat just capsize and
yeah, I guess
Trying to
so.
dump it. Coast Guard's
Don't they?
coming.
Yeah, I guess don't they
just dump it overboard?
Yeah.
It's
You see
wild.
the
before you
movies?
get caught?
Yeah.
The plane flying low.
Yeah.
The smugglers.
There's another big heist. South Philly at the food distribution, Samuel's.
Yeah, that's my people, Sandy
Yeah.
Brown's.
Yeah, there was a guy,
I love Samuel's.
tractor
Good
truck guy
seafood.
sleeping there. Someone they pinched $10,000 worth of tuna out of his trailer.
Wow.
What?
That's valuable stuff,
And
guys.
there's a food crime ring. They're saying it's the second time in 2 weeks someone got $2,500 of salmon like the week before down there.
Dude, fish is
Are
not
you
cheap.
serious?
Yeah,
You can push some fish. It's not cheap.
yeah. The tuna
sells to the restaurants?
10 grand in tuna.
10 grand in tuna.
Yeah. This guy's sleeping while there's a party going on in the back of his trailer, loading out
Well,
4
who's
clips
thinking
of
that, you
tuna.
know, you're probably, all respect to the guy, he's trying to get a couple Z's. He's not expecting like a crime wave,
Right.
a fish crime wave.
Well, it's all that sushi. There's a sushi, underground sushi network. And one more before we go. Council Rock Newtown won last week. They're in the Little League World Series. They play Thursday at 7 p.m. against Texas West.
Let's go.
Yeah, I love these
go,
guys. I
Bucks
love
County.
the story.
Yeah.
I love the story. I love these kids. You know, in fact, there's a South Philly group, the 9U, 8U or 9U, I got to check, who is playing in their World Series, and they got China coming up.
Oh, man.
Okay.
And it's weird. The championship takes place in Cherry Hill.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's actually pretty. I love this stuff. I love when the kids, I love the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
I live it, right? Now Moscow's 11U.
There you go.
Next year's a big year for them.
I used to love, I had the old, well, never mind. You used to be able to bet on the Little League World Series. You can't in Pennsylvania anymore. Now it went legal.
You would bet on the kids?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Absolutely.
I wonder if Brad has
There's
done
some
that too.
bashers. Yeah,
You think
absolutely.
Brad's bet
Wow,
on?
probably. Who knows? We might have an edge. Who knows?
It's going unders.
All
a
right,
little
that's
in the
going to
World
do it for
Series.
us. Everybody, thanks for hanging. As always, we love you guys. Be careful. See you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.